Hello and welcome to UGC EPG Pathshala. I am Anushri Nagpal from the Department of Geography, Jamia Millia Islamia. In this episode, we will learn about aerial photography. Learning outcomes. Number 1, characteristics of aerial photographs. Number 2, factors affecting aerial photographs. Number 3, classification of aerial photographs. Introduction. Photographing from air is basically known as aerial photography. The word aerial derived in early 17th century from Latin word aerius and Greek word aerios. The term photography is derived from two Greek words, phos meaning light and graphein meaning writing. Aerial photography comes under the branch of remote sensing. Platforms from which remote sensing observations are made are aircraft and satellites, as they are the most widespread and common platforms. Aerial photography is a part of remote sensing and has wide applications in topographical mapping, engineering, environmental science, studies and explorations for oil and minerals, etc. In the early stages of development, aerial photographs were obtained from balloons and kites, but after the invention of aircrafts in 1903, aircrafts are being used widely for aerial photographs. The sun provides the source of energy, electromagnetic radiation or EMR, and the photosensitive film acts as a sensor to record the images. Diversification observed in the images of photographs shows the different amount of energy being reflected from the objects as recorded on the films. Nowadays, aerial photography also becomes digital, where values of reflected electromagnetic radiation is recorded in digital numbers. Characteristics of aerial photographs. Number 1, synoptic view. Recording or taking aerial photographs spatially over large area is like bird's eye view from the top. These technologies allow discriminating and detecting small scale features and spatial relationships among them. Number 2, time freezing ability. They are defined as virtually permanent records of the existing conditions on Earth's surface at one point of time and further can be used as past document. Number 3, capability to stop action. They provide a stop action view of dynamic state and are used in studying the variable dynamic phenomena such as flooding, moving wildfire, traffic, oil spills, forest fires, changing dynamics in natural phenomena, etc. Number 4, three-dimensional perspective. Aerial photographs provide a stereoscopic view of the Earth's surface where one can make horizontal and vertical measurements. Number 5, spectral and spatial resolutions. Aerial films are susceptible to electromagnetic rays in wavelengths beyond spectral sensitivity to the human eye. Number 6, availability. Airborne photographs can be taken on user-specific time and make permanent record at a range of scales for any area. Let us now learn about the factors that influence aerial photography. Scale. Scale is defined as the ratio of distances between two images on an aerial photograph and the actual distance between the same 2 points or objects on the ground. In other words, the ratio of small f upon h, where small f is the focal length of the camera lens and h is the flying height above the mean terrain, shown in figure 1. Change in scale from photograph to another is because of the variation in flying height. Other factors that further affect the scale variations are tilt and relief displacements. Aerial photograph the image to be of highest quality. To guarantee good image quality, recent distortion-free cameras are used. Some latest version of cameras have image motion compensation devices to eliminate or reduce the effects of forward motion. Depending upon the requirements, different lengths of focal length, films, filter combination can be used. Camera film filter combinations. Aerial cameras. Aerial cameras are special cameras that are built for mapping, which have high geometric and radiometric accuracy. Airborne cameras are built with exactness and purposely designed to expose a large number of films of photographs in speedy succession with the ultimate in geometric fidelity and quality. Aerial cameras generally have a medium to large format with good quality lens, a large film magazine, a mount to hold the lens, the camera in a vertical position and a motor drive. There are various types of aerial cameras such as aerial mapping camera with single lens, reconnaissance camera, strip camera, panoramic camera, multi-lens camera, multi-band aerial cameras, digital cameras. Aerial films. Aerial film is a multi-layer emulsion laid on a stable anti-halogen base. Generally, aerial films are available in rolls that has cross-section of about 10 inch in wide and 200 to 500 feet in length. Types of film. Depending upon the suitability for different purpose and unique situations, variety of films are available that are used. Panchromatic and natural color films are the two most important and commonly used films. These two films along with infrared and false color form the basic media used in aerial photography, which are shown in figure 2. Panchromatic. Panchromatic, more often termed black and white, is the most commonly encountered film employed for photogrammetry. The sensitive layer consists of silver salt crystals suspended in a pure gelatin coating which sits atop a plastic base sheet. The emulsion is sensitive to the visible portion of the electromagnetic spectrum. Number 2. Color. Natural color, also known as true color film. The multi-layer emulsion is sensitive to visible region of electromagnetic spectrum. There are 3 layers of gelatin containing sensitized dyes, one each for blue, green and red light. Green and red layers are also sensitive to blue wavelengths. Visible light waves first pass through and react with the blue layer and then pass through a filter layer which halts further passage of the blue rays. Green and red waves pass through this barrier and sensitize their respective dyes, causing a chemical reaction and thus completing the exposure and creating a true color image. Infrared. Current aerial infrared film is offered as 2 types: black and white infrared and colored infrared. Black and white infrared have emulsion sensitive to green, red and part of the near infrared portions of the spectrum and renders a grayscale image shown in figure 3. Colored infrared. Colored infrared film is commonly termed as false color. The multi-layer emulsion is sensitive to green, red and part of the near infrared portions of the spectrum. A false color image contains red or pink hues in vegetative areas, with the color depending on the degree to which the photosynthetic processes are active, as shown in figure 4. Flight direction. It is advisable that aerial photography is shown in tiles to cover the chosen area in designated flight line, shown in figure 5. For easiness in handling, it is prudent to keep the number of tiles to minimum. The flight direction of the strips tiles is therefore kept along the length of the area. This direction may be any suitable direction along a natural or man-made feature and should be clearly specified. The further transmission process and data collection is shown in figure 6. Next, time. The time at which aerial photograph is taken is very important, as long, deep shadows tend to make the details doubtful, whereas undersized or small shadows tend to mark out some details effectively and are generally fruitful in improving the interpretational values of a photograph. Based on experience, aerial photography should be flown when the sun's elevation is 30 degrees above the horizon or 3 hours before and after the local noon time. Seasons. Factors such as seasonal variations in light reflectance, seasonal changes in the vegetation cover and seasonal changes in climatological factors are the tip points for choosing the suitability of season. The purpose for which aerial photography is flown also dictates the season. For example, for photogrammetric mapping, geological or soil survey purposes, the ground should be as clearly visible as possible. Atmospheric conditions. As mentioned before, the presence of particles and molecules of gases in the atmosphere tends to reduce contrast because of scattering, especially by the heavier particles. Therefore, the best time for photography is when the sky is clear, which normally in India is from November to February. The presence of dust and smoke during the pre-monsoon summer months and of clouds during the monsoon months forbids aerial photography during these periods. Stereoscopic coverage. To examine the Earth's surface in 3 dimensions, aerial photography is normally flown with a 60-degree forward overlap and a 25 degrees side lap to provide full coverage of the area shown in figures 7a and b. This is an essential requirement from the photogrammetric mapping point of view to obtain data both on planimetry and heights using the stereoscopic principle of observation in 3D and measurement techniques with stereoplotting instrument. Stereoscopic viewing also helps in interpretation as the model is viewed in 3 dimensions. Let us now learn about the classification of aerial photographs. There are different criteria to classify aerial photographs. Different criteria are scale, tilt, angle, angular coverage, type of film and spectral bands. Depending upon these criteria, aerial photographs can be classified as follows. Number 1. Scale. Large scale between 1:5,000 and 1:20,000. Medium scale between 1:20,000 and 1:50,000, and small scale smaller than 1:50,000. B. Camera orientation. Vertical. When the vertical photograph is taken, it is evident that optical axis of the camera should be vertical or nearly vertical. That is, the tilt is within 3 degrees. Oblique. We have 2 types of obliques, low oblique. First, photograph is taken with strongly tilted optical axis but not to the extent that horizon appears in the photograph. That is, the horizon does not appear but tilt is more than 3 degrees. High oblique. Photograph is taken with deliberately tilted optical axis enough from the vertical to show the Earth's horizon. That is, horizon appears in the photograph. Horizontal or terrestrial. Photograph is taken with camera axis horizontally. Fourth, convergent photography. It is a sequential pair of low oblique in which the optical axis converge towards one another. In this kind of photography, both the photographs cover the same area but from different locations. C. Angular coverage. Angular coverage is a function of focal length and format size. Number 1. Narrow angle. Angle of coverage less than 200 used for general interpretation, intelligence and mosaics. Number 2. Normal angle. Angle of coverage between 500 to 700 used for general interpretation, mapping, orthophotography and mosaics. Third, wide angle. Angle of coverage 850 to 950 used for general interpretation, general purpose photography for normal terrain, resource mapping and mosaics. Fourth, super wide angle. Angle of coverage more than 1100 used for general purposes of mapping of flat areas. Next, film. Black and white panchromatic. This is most broadly used type of film for photogrammetric mapping and interpretation. Number 2, black and white infrared. This is used in interpretation and intelligence and in hazy environment as infrared can penetrate through haze. Number 3, color. This is used for interpretation and mapping. Number 4, color infrared or false color. This is used for vegetation studies, water pollution and crop studies. Next, spectral coverage or response. Number 1, multispectral, depending upon the number of spectral bands. Obtaining aerial photography. As per the existing policy of the Government of India, all types of aerial photographs are classified documents, that is secret or restricted, depending upon the location and its strategic importance. The Surveyor General of India coordinates all activities relating to the execution of aerial photography tasks for all civilian needs. The coordinating authority performs the following functions. Number 1, design and issue of the specification for photographic tasks. Number 2, layout and priorities, clearance from various agencies and distribution of tasks among the 3 flying agencies. Number 3, flight planning and evaluation for sustainability of the executed tasks. Distribution of photographs to the intender. Number 5, accounting for the above. Project planning for aerial photography. Project planning for doing aerial photography operations involve 3 basic phases. 1, flight planning. 2, planning for ground control. 3, estimation of costs. Number 1, flight planning. Basic elements of flight planning are finalization of flying height, ground distance between successive exposures, ground spacing between flight lines. Several factors must be taken into consideration in planning the flight map. Important are the following. Number 1, purpose of photography. Number 2, photographic scale. Number 3, allowable scale variations. Number 4, relief displacement. Number 5, photographic tilt. Number 6, crab and drift. Number 7, flying height. Number 8, orientation of topography. Many of the factors are closely interrelated like scale, focal length, flying height. Number 1, purpose of photography. The aerial photography is generally conducted for specific purposes. All the specifications are set to fulfill purposes. The majority of photogrammetric activities involve the compilation of topographic maps in a stereoscopic plotting instrument. For such purpose, wide-angle photography is required to get appropriate base height ratio that enhances vertical accuracy. If the topography is very flat, a super wide angle camera is used. Standard 60% forward overlap and 15 to 30% side lap is satisfactory for topographic mapping, as it provides complete stereoscopic coverage of the area without any gap. Orientation of flight line is generally kept along the length of the area, which also satisfy economic criteria. A photography for aerial mosaics should ideally be from highest feasible altitude and should contain overlap as per the topography. If the ground is fairly flat, then 60% overlap and 15 to 30% side lap is satisfactory. If the terrain is rugged, both overlap and side lap should be increased. The main objective here is to hold the effects of relief displacement to a minimum, as has been shown in figure 10. Photography taken for the production of orthophotos, favorable orientation of the flight lines are in a direction normal to the general trend of the topography. If orthophotos are to be pieced together to form an ortho mosaic, the photographs should be taken with a constant sun angle and at the same season of the year. Otherwise, the tone and texture variation between the individual orthophotos will be quite pronounced and objectionable. If your purpose is photogrammetric triangulation, the flight plan is governed by the topographic mapping considerations. Flight lines are planned to give 60% overlap to both directions so that any internal pass point or tie point lying in the shaded area will appear on 9 photographs, resulting in 9 pair of collinearity equations for the point. The alternate flight strips can be used for the topographic mapping. It does strengthen block triangulation. 60% overlap in both directions is used also for the determination of ground points for the cadastral surveys and for establishing fill-in ground control. Each internal point in the block will appear on at least 4 photographs, thus strengthening its ground position in the analytical intersection solution. Photographic scale. Photographic scale is determined by the use of photographs. User should be able to recognize his features of interest and be able to resolve the smallest objects that need to be identified, as has been shown in figure 11. According to scale, other parameters like flying height, camera orientation of flight lines, etc. are finalized. Allowable scale variation. Scale variation in a photograph or between photographs is caused by variation in the ground elevation, by a variation in flying height, or both. If the terrain is undulating with large height differences, scale variation will be more. Higher the elevation result into larger the scale, and lower the elevation result into smaller the scale. Scale variation also affects photographic coverage because rising or falling of terrain with respect to the flying height alter the scale considerably and is an important factor to be considered when relatively low altitude photography is taken for mapping purposes. If terrain rises, the overlap between successive photographs decreases if the photographs are taken with a constant time interval between exposures. The width of terrain covered by the photographs becomes narrower as the terrain elevation increases. In such situations, side lap also decreases, and if it is not planned well, gaps between the flight strips may occur in the high areas. Relief displacement. Mathematically, it is a magnitude of displacement in image between the top and bottom of elevated object, that is, the apparent leaning of elevated objects away from the principal point shown in figure 12. Practically every point on the vertical aerial photograph is displaced from its datum photograph position because of its elevation above or below the datum. There is no relief displacement at nadir. Relief displacement on any pair of adjacent photograph always occurs in opposite directions because the relief displacement on each photograph radiates outward from a point near the center of the photograph. Relief displacement will decrease as the flying height will increase. It is also evident that to maintain a certain scale as the flying height is increased, the focal length must be increased. Relief displacement is very important in the way that it enables us to calculate the height of objects. At the same time, its relief displacement affects the construction of mosaics. Since mosaicing consists of piecing adjacent photographs together to form one composite picture, large relief displacement on successive photographs will make it difficult or even impossible to form a continuous, uninterrupted picture. Relief displacements on any pair of adjacent photographs always occur in opposing directions because the relief displacement on each photograph radiates outward from the principal point of the photograph. As seen in the diagram, relief displacement will decrease as the flying height increases. It is also evident that to maintain a certain scale as the flying height is increased, the focal length must be increased. These principles are taken into account when the flight plan is designed. In general, relief displacement has no adverse effect upon map compilation in a stereoscopic plotting instrument. In fact, as the relief displacement increases, the more positively can elevations be measured in the instrument. Tilt of the photographs. The tilt of a photograph may be resolved in two components. One is the amount of the direction of flight and the other is the amount in the direction normal to the flight line. The first is called Y tilt, the second is called the X tilt. When a photograph has undergone a Y tilt, the overlap on one side will be greater than the desired amount of overlap, while the overlap on the opposite side will be smaller than the desired amount. Two successively exposed photographs with opposite Y tilt will cause the increase or decrease in overlap to accumulate, whereas Y tilt in the same direction will to a great extent cancel the side lap to increase in overlap. An X tilt of a photograph will cause the side lap to increase on one side of the flight line and to decrease on the opposite side. The effect of Y tilt on overlap can be taken into account by using the viewfinder to control the overlap. If a fixed interval between exposures is held, as with the use of an intervalometer, the effect of Y tilt on overlap must be allowed for by decreasing the theoretically desired overlap. The effect of X tilt on side lap must be allowed for by decreasing the computed spacing between flight lines slightly to produce a slight increase in the desired side lap. This adjustment helps to ensure proper coverage and at the same time allows for certain abnormal relief displacements. Crab and drift. Crab is the term given to designate the angle formed between the flight line and the edges of the photographs in the direction of flight. It is caused by not having the focal plane of the camera squared with the direction of flight at the instant of exposure. The effect of crabbing is shown in figure 13. Under normal flying conditions, the camera can be corrected to allow for crabbing by a rotation of the camera about the vertical axis of the camera mount. The consequence of crab is to condense the effective breadth of exposure of the photography. Fortunately, the side lap allowance will in most instances prevent grapping between flight strips caused by crab. Drift is caused by failure of the aircraft to stay on the predetermined flight plane. If the aircraft drift to one side or the other of the flight line, loss of some side lap would be observed on the side opposite to the direction of drift. Drifting from the predetermined flight line is the most common cause serious gapping between adjacent flight lines. Gapping may be due to a poor flight line map, even though the pilot actually keeps the aircraft on the flight line as drawn in figure 14. Selection of flying height. Once overlap requirements are finalized, other parameters of flight planning decided out of them, flying height is important. Several interrelated factors that affect the selection of flying height, such as desired scale, focal length of camera, relief displacement, permissible tilt, etc. These need to be finalized. Other factors to be considered are the precision of the photogrammetric equipment used to compile topographic maps from the photography, physical limitations of the stereoscopic plotting instruments to be used in the map compilation, and factors particular to some forms of large-scale mapping. Various types of photogrammetric instrument used in the process of map compilation contain a certain inherent precision, but it is different for each type. In general, the greater precision in the system, the greater it may be the flying height. This relationship is advantageous because when the flying height is doubled, it increases the ground coverage per photograph by 4 times and by a long way reduces the needed amount to ground control. Since vertical accuracy in a photographic map is a limiting factor in the photogrammetric process, the flying height is quite often related to the contour interval of the finished map. The relationship is expressed as a precision factor and is designated as the C factor of the photogrammetric equipment. Thus, flying height is equal to contour interval divided by C factor. The C factor is understood to be that value used to calculate the flying height, which will build photography satisfactory to obtain the desired level of vertical accuracy in the map. Thank you.